在这个星期的2014世界原住民族新闻奖的专题系列，我们要向您介绍的是北美洲原住民族非常重要、非常神圣也非常神秘的一个祭典，叫做 Sundance 太阳之舞。加拿大原住民族电视台 APTN 的记者完整记录了曼尼托巴省西部云山林部落进行 Sundance 太阳之舞祭典时的点点滴滴。这个祭典有非常多的重要意涵，其中非常重要的就是疗愈。族人在祭典的过程中，坦诚面对深埋在心中的痛苦、挣扎，也透过分享和泪水抒发这些负面的情绪，更从其他族人的身上得到支持与安慰。北美洲现代原住民族的社会充斥着失业、贫穷、酗酒、毒品、忧郁症甚至高自杀率等问题。这则报道中也有族人现身说法，分享自己是如何因为参与了太阳之舞，重新与自己的部落、自己的原住民族文化和根源连结，进而改变了自己的人生。
It's been around for thousands of years and is said to be the most sacred of ceremonies. The Sundance. And for the past 16 years, the one held here in Spruce Woods Provincial Park in western Manitoba has continued to grow. Hundreds of people travel here from across North America every summer. They come to pray, take part in ceremony, connect with their spirituality and their culture. Some arrive not knowing what to expect, but for Ernest Leroy, the Sundance has changed his life. Leroy grew up in Saskatchewan. His early life was full of anger and addiction, but he doesn't like to talk about the person he was then.
It was a bad way of living. I lived on the wrong side of the law.
He wound up in prison.
The most sacred ceremony we have as Indian people is the Sundance. Here we come face to face with our Creator.
That's where he met David Blacksmith, a cultural advisor who worked with inmates. Blacksmith is also the Sundance chief of the Spruce Woods Gathering. He invited Ernest to come here 4 years ago.
I work with the young people, but actually no one does.
In ceremony, Leroy let go of pain he'd held inside since childhood.
It's very emotional. A lot of times I have to hold my emotion back because it's overwhelming.
But letting out those feelings and finding a connection to prayer and culture helped.
I'd probably be in prison. I did several bits. It's incredible that I've been able to stay out as long as I have. And through the Sundance, of course. Without Sundance, I'm nothing.
He's come back every year since.
I started off as a helper, and I got swept away with spirit of stuff, and I've been here ever since.
This is real, and it's time that we give the real thing.
Blacksmith has seen how his teachings and prayer can heal a life. Many come to deal with the heartbreaking loss of a loved one, or suicide, sexual abuse, addictions, incest, pain they can barely speak about.
We need to bring it out in the open. You know, people are afraid to deal with it. People are ashamed to deal with it because it touches everybody. Everybody gets affected by this. You know, and it's time. You know, it's time. We don't hide no more.
But the path to healing is not an easy one. Leroy can tell you that. Sundancers like him must commit themselves to dance for 4 years. Inside the Sundance Lodge, they meditate, pray, and self-reflect. When they enter the arbor, they must refrain from food and water while they dance for 4 days. stopping only at night to sleep for a few hours. It's harsh, emotional, and exhausting. 90-year-old elder Joe Asquash gives the teachings at this Sundance. He remembers attending Sundance ceremonies when he was just a little boy. Back then, the ceremonies were held in secret because the government outlawed the gatherings. Although it survived, some teachings were lost.
Be a woman and be a man and walk a straight path. Don't be a part of the problem, because Indian people have problems. Be a solution to your own people and to your own family.
Elder Esquash and Sundance Chief David Blacksmith make it their life's work to welcome those who've lost the tradition back into the circle. They believe doing so helps those who feel lost find strength and direction.
We will take the time to speak for you, for what you want in your life. Health.
There are many ceremonies within the Sundance, but healing is a frequent theme.
That's my responsibility. Nobody's prayers and nobody's cloth will be forgotten.
Blacksmith begins his Sundance with the nest and tree ceremonies. At sunrise on the first day of the Sundance, Blacksmith chooses 7 men who've lost a parent. They must then go into the bush to collect leaves and branches. To make a nest, which will represent a mother.
When they get back, when they stop 7 times, one at a time, and they keep howling like wolves, it symbolizes crying.
The men imitate orphaned wolves who are searching for their way. In the teachings he was given, Blacksmith says emotion, letting go of hurt, and shedding tears gives the Sundance strength.
Where we take the 7 men and I listen to their loss and I cry for them. That's what the nest ceremony is.
Then a Sundance tree is chosen to give its life.
It has to be Mishtukunabe, the male tree. And the female trees are the ones that hold it up. They're the ones that hold the tree in place.
All of the Sundancers prepare the tree together. There are more than 100 dancers this time around. Men, women, and youth. When they raise the tree, the nest sits upon it.
Okay, split the ropes now. Split those ropes? Yeah.
Together representing male and female, the tree and nest is said to take away negativity and bring prayers to a higher power. Blacksmith says the tree ceremony is similar and somewhat representative of the story of Jesus in the Bible.
And that represents Creator, God's Son. So we take his life tomorrow. On Monday, he goes to heaven with all your prayers and your suffering and your tears and all that stuff. That's the belief that a Sundance chief learns that.
Say a couple words. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Joe Morales. My Indian name is Napewashte. Good hands.
He found an ally from the Pasquiyaki Nation in the United States.
I'm here because David Blacksmith invited me up to receive a ceremony that we will be taking down to do at our Sundance.
Joe Morales is the Sundance chief for the gathering of the Sacred Pipe Sundance. It's held every year in Pipestone, Minnesota. Much like Blacksmith, Morales believes ceremony is key to healing.
Same things, alcoholism, suicide.
Sundance Bros.
And for LaRaw, now in his fourth and final year of the Sundance, everything has changed.
I'm non-violent. I don't drink. Rather than hurt people, I help any way I can. My dad's to try to bring some of my family back to this way of life. I feel like I've been saved from the life I used to live.
There are dozens of ceremonies within any given Sundance, but the common theme is growth and healing. Here at the annual Sprucewoods Gathering, one of the most important ceremonies is the Buffalo Dance. It came to Sundance Chief David Blacksmith in a dream a few years ago. He learned that it's an ancient ceremony that was unheard of for decades.
That we could use it in a good way to help people, to help a young man or a young woman looking for a way out instead of suicide.
In the dream, the Buffalo Spirit told Blacksmith that certain people must do the dance to combat suicide, sexual abuse, and other issues that plague Aboriginal communities. The spirit of the buffalo is said to be the only one strong enough to take suicidal thoughts away from people. It's also the only animal spirit powerful enough to bring the souls of those in limbo to heaven.
That's why I do the buffalo dance. Because of the people that took their lives. Because of the people that are trying to take their lives. Because of the people that got sexually molested and incest, that are dealing with that shame and that filth in their hearts. It is only the buffalo spirit that can withstand that ugliness.
That ugliness was learned early on by 16-year-old Jadine Chaboye and her best friend, Anita Peltier. Both have seen loved ones take their own lives, and both have suffered pain and heartache from it.
I've been in foster care since I was 3 years old. I lost my mom from suicide when I was 6, and then ever since then, I just went down a really rough road.
It really upsetted me that I could never see my brother ever again, and everything just started going downhill. I started drinking, I started smoking weed and everything, and then I got into drugs, and it was just horrible.
And I just wanted to say how important this ceremony is and how important it is for our young people to be here, because without you guys, this would not exist.
The girls are taking part in a sub-meeting at the Sundance held to embrace youth and children. It's the first time this Sundance has held the youth gathering.
And we really, really appreciate you guys that you're here, and your presence is very welcomed, and you're blessing our ceremony right now with your presence. Please get all the youth to come to the youth gathering at the Shabbat Swan.
Iska Spillett was asked to coordinate the youth gathering by the Sundance chief. The name Heart Medicine was given to the group, and their mission to uphold traditions.
Sundance or how you're feeling, and don't be shy. Just want to say
In order to do that, we want to basically inspire youth to be interested in our ceremonies and in this traditional way of life, because without our youth, then we would have nothing,
I need your girls to go get those things, eh?
Anita and Jadine attend an alternative high school that introduced them to their culture. This is their first time to a Sundance. They say they're here to learn together.
It feels pretty amazing, having somebody here supporting me and supporting each other.
The girls are both sober now and are dedicating their time here to pray for their peers who are struggling with addictions and may have suicide on their minds.
I want to be the kind of person that gives and not take. I want to help people see that there is life. There is a good life to live. You don't have to go down that road and be lost all your life.
Along with the ceremonies for youth, there's also one for children.
Oh, side by side. Bring the girls up side by side there. Yeah, Jerry, make sure the girls stay up there. Not too fast.
Blacksmith says the Sundance was outlawed in Canada for many years. Adults didn't allow children to come to the ceremonies for fear of them being taken away. But now for the past few years, all the Sundance children are brought into the lodge and are allowed to host the ceremony for 1 hour. Blacksmith says this is to honor their presence and the future of the people.
Letting the kids come in there, and we pick the little Sundance chief every year, a couple of years. Let him run the lodge, and then they never forget that. They never forget that.
Okay, what the Sundance woman chief has said is that all you women that are here as dancers, you're a really good role model, and she wants to be just like all of you.
A little girl and a little boy are chosen to be the Sundance leaders. The elders are then told the teachings by the children and share it with the lodge.
Also, he says, as a Sundance chief, don't take drugs.
Ceremonies are meant to be shared for the betterment of all. This year, Blacksmith is passing the buffalo ceremony on to his spiritual ally, Joe Morales, from the Pasquayaki Nation in Minnesota. He's the Sundance chief of the Gathering of the Sacred Pipe Sundance.
I feel very honored and very humbled by that, and now we've, as you saw, officially received the ceremony, and so we're planning on doing that in Pipestone.
Morales says in order to heal people from things like suicide and addiction, traditions must be shared with youth and leaders across nations.
Tradition has to start somewhere, and when we stop poking our fingers and start just opening up our hearts, then that's when changes will come, and that's what the future holds, I hope.
I want to see good things happen.
And it seems new traditions have started for these young women.
You know, and I just want kids to feel better about themselves and, you know, not to get into the drugs and alcohol and to not think about suicide. You know, it just kind of breaks my heart seeing that happen.
This young girl here, she started to dance yesterday. I pulled her out today. She felt fear. The power of the Sundance. That's what she felt. She will do it next year. I know she will.
The girls have committed to come back every year and to have advice for other young people who may be feeling the loss and pain they once did.
I would say, like, go talk to someone, go talk to an elder, or go to a sweat and let all that stuff out. Like, it does you good to let it all out. It really does. It makes you, like, a better person. You have a clear mind.
Blacksmith says even if one young person or child learns to honor their life, his efforts are worthwhile. He has a vision of young people struggling to somehow, some way, end up here to find their path.
We will find a way to get these young people to the Sundance in 2014, the biggest Sundance in the history of Indian people.
It's the fourth and final day of the Sprucewood Sundance. Dancers have gone without food and water since entering the lodge. They're tired, hungry, and not alone. In the last 4 days, Sundance Chief David Blacksmith is running on only 6 hours of sleep.
I'm a little tired, but I'm also very relieved that everybody is okay.
Blacksmith dedicates most of his time to helping people find their spiritual path. It's a life choice that brings its own challenges.
I had 103 dancers go in. 92 finished. Some were taken to the hospital. At that time, I was yesterday morning. I was so high stress and very, very high stressful situation. And until they were okay, and you know, that's how hard the Sundance is.
But Blacksmith believes the personal sacrifice combined with prayer heals these dancers and their loved ones. Cameras have never been allowed at this Sundance or any other Sundance before. But Blacksmith is willing to allow APTN to film this intensely personal experience because he wants to send a message.
It is our own people that go against it. Indians against Indians, Aboriginal people against Aboriginal people. And that is so sad. The Christians don't work with the traditional people don't work with the Christians and all that stuff. And I don't believe that. We should all work together. I'll even go to church to prove that I can work with you. I can pray in your church. You should not take your belief and call my Sundance down or my traditional beliefs.
David's wife Cheryl supports the move to film the Sundance ceremonies. And by allowing our cameras to roll, she believes she's in fact following a long-held tradition.
One of my grandfather's greatest teachings was the ceremonies don't belong to one person. They belong to everybody.
Cheryl's grandfather, Joe Esquash, is the Sundance elder. She says it took some persuasion, but eventually, Elder Esquash allowed cameras to capture some of the ancient ceremonies. She told him messages make their way to people in a much different way than when he was a child.
When I explained the parallel of using a horse and walking to using technology to get the word out there that, Sundance is a beautiful, beautiful experience. And I think everyone should have the opportunity to experience that.
It's the last ceremony of this year's Sundance. It's called the Wiktagokan dance. The Wiktagokan comes from an ancient legend. In Dakota, they're called Hayokas, and the story varies from nation to nation. It is said that the Wiktago was a human who turned into an evil cannibal who terrorized communities across North America.
From the dark side, they came from hate, they came from jealousy, they came from gossip, they came from, desperation.
Legend goes that the last known Wiktago was destroyed decades ago in northern Canada. But to keep the Sundance free from negativity and hatred, some people are chosen to do the Wiktagokan dance.
That's why we dress up as the Wiktigos, to fool him that he still exists.
The tree of life represents purity and kindness and carries prayers to God. Blacksmith says the Wiktago dancers are dressed in the regalia and are acting for a reason. They play a key role in finishing the Sundance every year.
They're the ones that scare away the spirit of the tree to heaven. So that all the prayers and all the cloth and all the tears, and they go to heaven.
Wichtagos represent what is backwards or contrary. So their job is actually to maintain positivity and solace for the people and the Sundance Lodge. After the final ceremony, it's time for the dancers to come out.
Don't stop singing until I tell you to stop. You go over here. Everybody has to move back. Over here.
And have their first drink of water in days.
Make a circle over there.
Thank you.
Oh.
Love you so much. Oh my God.
Fourth-year dancer Ernest Leroy prayed hard for his family this year. He asked that Creator bring them to this way of life. His prayers were answered when he found that his niece arrived from Saskatchewan to show her support.
Thank you to my mamas.
Our dad's to try to bring some of my family back to this way of life. I feel like I've been saved from the life I used to live by David and the Sundance family, and I would like the rest of my family to be saved as well.
After days of prayer, self-reflection, and hunger, LaRa still has a sense of humor.
I know there's going to be chicken. I love chicken.
LaRa has committed himself to do 4 more years at this Sundance.
This is where you get your strength. Don't be scared. So many people are scared because they don't understand. Come and learn and understand. And don't be scared. And be as happy as all these guys. Look, everybody's giggling, laughing. No drugs, no alcohol, nothing. Just pure emotion. That's the greatest.
The Sundance chief and his wife celebrate with their dancers. It's an emotional time. Personal achievement and knowledge passed down.
You made it there? Yeah. In the condo.
Cheryl Blacksmith believes this way means the survival of Native people.
Is that godly or is that godly?
The Blacksmiths invite people of all races, ages, and beliefs to come share in prayer. The Sundance is open to anyone, and they look forward to a time when people of other faiths come to see that just because rituals may be different, people are praying for the same things in life.
We are free to practice our culture and our belief, that it's not something to be ashamed of, it's not something to pretend that it doesn't exist. It's something to be honored, pursued, to be proud of.
As Sundancers and supporters head to their home fires for another year, preparation will soon be underway for 2014, where Sundance chiefs from across North America will gather here with thousands of dancers of many nations for a combined Sundance.
But I feel really good I'm very relieved. I'm very, very happy. Very satisfied. Very proud. And very tired.
He's grateful these 4 days have been a success.
We made it. We made it. I am a leader.
And as the sun sets on the final day, preparation will soon begin for next year. What Blacksmith hopes will be the biggest Sundance in the history of his people.
When we watch the news, we see nothing but violence. We see nothing but chaos, alcoholism. Bad news sells. Why not show our people and the Canadian public something beautiful about us? What's wrong with that?